In this video, we will take a look at the Creditsafe Connect setup. And when I say Creditsafe Connect setup, I mean the generic setup that is not dependent on the data source or API that we get data from, or from which country we get data, just the generic setup. So let's go into the Role Explorer, explore more roles and Creditsafe Connect, and select the credit monitoring setup. And we will take a look at the most important fields here. First of all, the default search country. When you use the search functionality, this will decide which will your default country be. So if you often search in, like in this case, Sweden, it's convenient to put in SE here, and the same goes with the search type. So if I open the search inside in Creditsafe databases, I get the defaults here. Then we have the age limit for an active customer or vendor. And we have this field because when we do scheduled updates from Creditsafe, we try to limit the data, the amount of data that we download from Creditsafe. And filtering on active customers is one way to do it. If we look if we search for scheduled updates of monitoring objects, you can see that we have a setting where we will calculate if customer or vendor is active, and we can also select that we will only process active customers or vendors. And an active customer or vendor, well, of course, it is, if we focus on customers, it's a customer that has some kind of ongoing document like a sales order, an invoice, or has something that is open in the customer ledger. But with this setting, we can also take a look in the rear view mirror, saying like any customer that had some activity in the customer ledger for not more than 3 months ago will be considered as an active customer, and we will keep data updated for that company for 3 months. And while we are talking about which companies we are updating data for and doing credit checks, it is worth mentioning the sales integration, where we by default do a credit check in sales order, sales invoice. If it's more than like 1 month or 1 week since we did the credit check, in that case, we ask Creditsafe if there has been any new changes, and if there has arrived any new changes since the last time we downloaded data for the company, we will do a new credit check. So let's say a customer has been inactive for like 6 months. We have stopped updating. The data that we have might be old. Also, the credit check is based on old data, but since we have this setting enabled, an automatic credit check when we put in the customer number on the sales order. If we go back to the general tab, we also have a setting for how long manual credit approvals will last. If you get a rejection on a credit template, if you have permission in the user setup table, let's take a look at that setting. It's all the way to the right. We have a checkbox that decides which users can do manual credit checks. And if a user that can do this has approved a rejection, that approval will, in this case, by default, have a best before date 1 week ahead. So you can set 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, whatever. And the scheduled update that we looked at previously have a setting to process due manual credit checks. So every morning at 6 a.m. we will take a look at we got any manual credit checks that has passed its best before date. So can leave the search. We talked a little bit about sales integration. We have the default customer data. Where do we get that from? A configuration template or a customer template? And we talked about these two settings, but what about the failed credit check action? By default is blank. We recommend you to not do intrusive settings for a start at least. Just keep the Creditsafe data informational to the users, but don't block too much. And later on you can start tightening up your settings. So this setting is about what should happen when a salesperson tries to release a sales order or post a shipment directly from a sales order where the customer has a failed credit check. We will always show a notification on the sales order if the credit check has failed, but this is like an extra step when we release or post. Should we warn the user or block the user? And if we block, the only one who can actually release or post is a user that can do manual credit approvals, or if the salesperson use 100% prepayment. By default, this is blank. And this is how we use the credit check when we create a customer from a search. By default, we have an advisory credit check. So we will do a credit check and we will notify the user if the credit check fails, but the user can continue to create the customer. But we can also set it as enforced and we will block. And the only way to create a customer with a failed credit check, if we use the enforced, is again a user that can do manual approvals that can then approve each rejection and then go ahead and create the customer. So these are the most important settings in the credit monitoring setup. The other setting is documented in our documentation. So thank you for watching.